Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome everybody out for our April Chamber Luncheon. It's April Fool's Day. Laura Glover's already tried to pull a couple of April Fools on me. I'm on to her, though. I knew what day it was. I was ready for her this year. We've got a great luncheon planned out today, and we're going to go ahead and we'll start things off. We're going to have a little audible here for our opening prayer. Former chief of police, and I'm calling him the enforcement officer and deacon at First Baptist Church. I'd like to have William Hunt, please, come up and bless our meal. Chief enforcement officer, I like that.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we come to you today and we want to give thanks first and foremost and always for your Son Jesus. We're approaching a time of the year that we should be reflecting on the sacrifice that he made for each one of us here today to give us the opportunity and the gifts of everlasting life if we so choose it. Dear Lord, thank you for this day and everything you bestow on us each day. You give us mercy and grace even though we don't deserve it. And dear Lord, please help me with the shortcoming that I have and maybe others in this room do as well. But help us to always remember to give grace to others just as you gave grace to us. Bless this food to the nourishment of our body. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you stepping in. Thank you very much, Chief Hunt. We appreciate it. No Two for Tuesdays today, but we do have a lot of information tables here. I'd like to recognize all the info tables that are here. This is a free service that we provide. If anybody, business, civic, nonprofit group would ever like to set up at one of our info tables, just give us a call. We take those on a first-come, first-served basis. All I ask out of all of you all here today is find an information table, maybe before or after lunch. Find somebody or an organization or a business that you don't know a lot about, and go introduce yourself. Go learn a little bit more about them, and you might find a connection there with something that you might really need or enjoy. So I would encourage everybody to do that. I'm going to recognize those businesses. The Don Franklin family of dealerships, United Cumberland Bank, Fork Broadcasting, Somerset 106, The Living Bread Soup Kitchen, Skyhope Women's Recovery, Protea Behavioral Counseling, Lifeline Home Care, Emeritus Fry Photography, Lake Cumberland Community Fitness, Horizon Pace, Big Sandy Area Development District. Date for our Shamrock Shuffle 5K, our 13th annual Shamrock Shuffle 5K Run Walk. So it has been rescheduled to Saturday, April the 9th date. So you can go online if you would like to. Maybe that first date didn't work for your calendar and the new date will. Saturday, April 19th. You can go to shamrockshuffleky.com, shamrockshuffleky.com, and you can register for the race, get any information. Everything's still the same. Downtown, 10 o'clock, same race route, everything. The date's been changed, though, Saturday, April 19th. Also, I'm going to put in a plug for anybody who might be interested in helping us out. We are getting ready to start lining out groups to help us with our 5th annual Operation Beautification Community Cleanup. So for anybody in here that's unaware of Operation Beautification, we partner with Danny Maston over in the Pulaski County Recycling Center, and we offer paid cleanup opportunities for school groups. So I know this from having 2 small kids that I'm always out there hawking something. It's Girl Scout cookies, it's this, it's that, it's cookie dough, it's something. We're always selling something to raise money for our kids, aren't we? Well, this is an excellent opportunity for you all. We will actually pay these school groups $150 a mile to go out and pick up trash. So if you have a football booster group, FBLA, any kind of church youth group, anybody that you think might be cheerleaders, volleyball, anybody out there, if you're looking for extra money, this is an excellent opportunity for you to do that. We have a few opportunities left. It fills up pretty quick. We take them first come, first serve. If you would like to help us with that, if you've got a group, let them know to reach out to us. We'll be happy to help them. we'll get them plugged into that program. And our 4-year totals, I always like to brag about this because I believe it's one of the most successful cleanup initiatives in the state. Danny and I recently spoke at a waste recycling conference, and they wanted us to talk about Operation Beautification. So in 4 years, we have had over 1,700 volunteers collect almost 3,000 bags of trash off 309 miles of roadway. The big number, we have given back over $56,000 to local school groups and youth organizations who have participated in this. So it's a win-win in our opinion. We're giving this money, we're raising it from individuals, we're giving it back to our local school groups to help them go out and pick up garbage and help beautify our community, because we are a tourism community at heart, aren't we? We talk about Lake Cumberland a lot, 4 million visitors a year. We're a tourism community, and we want to make sure that we put our best foot forward. Our new chamber magazines they're probably still warm. They're that hot off the press. They should be on everybody's tables. We have boxes of them in the back. We will send these out. They will be at every hotel, every motel. We use these for relocation packets. We use these for anybody who's looking to recruit businesses to town. We'll hand out over the course of this year over 10,000 of those magazines. We just got those in. I want to give a big shout out to Steve Cornelius and the Commonwealth Journal for designing that magazine for us. There are excellent stories on chamber members in that. There's some really good restaurant listings and all sorts of information, things that you may not even know that are in our community. So I would encourage you, if you are ever looking for something to give someone that you want to give them a snapshot of Pulaski County, it's that chamber magazine right there. So take one with you, take more. If you need boxes of these, we'll be happy to give them to you. If you need just one or two, take them with you today. Almost next to last. I see him over here looking at me. So we have a new employee. He's on day 2 today. So he's not really he's kind of a new old employee. Ross Corder is on day 2. He's our new business liaison after John Blake left for another job opportunity. We went through an extensive search. We received over 100 applications, and Ross did a wonderful job. And he knows this place. He worked for the chamber in the early 2000s under Jack Keeney, my predecessor. Most recently, he's been with Pulaski County government, and we're really, really excited to have Ross with us. So he and Ace are going to be out on the streets. They're going to be visiting with you all. And remember, these positions, they're here for you all. They're here to connect the dots and to help find ways to help your businesses. So let's all give Ross a big round of applause. One more thing. Let's see if I got it here. Today, I want to take a minute to recognize someone who's been an integral part of our community for the past 26 years. Pulaski County PVA T.W. Todd. T.W. is one of the most stand-up elected officials in the history of our county and has made an incredible impact throughout his career, providing dedicated service with integrity and professionalism. After 26 years of hard work and commitment to our community, T.W. has decided to retire. On behalf of all of the Chamber of Commerce, we want to thank you for your exceptional service, your dedication, and your tireless work to make our community a better place. We wish you all the best as you begin this next chapter. T.W., you've certainly earned it. He also told me that he's been a chamber member since 1985, so that's pretty darn impressive. At this point, I'd like to ask T.W. to please come forward. We're going to present him with a chamber designation, making him an official friend of the chamber. Please join me in giving T.W. a big round of applause and showing your appreciation. We're going to have you do it in front. Is that okay, T.W.? Hey, another big round of applause for TW. Okay, at this time, I'm going to go ahead and turn the presentation over to my boss, President of the Chamber this year, Miss Laura Glover.
Thank you all so much for that round of applause. I also want to once again thank TW. He's done an amazing job, and what character, so thank you. We're going to go ahead and call our April Chamber meeting to order. With that, we want to welcome everyone here today. Our guests, our public officials, and our Chamber members, thank you so much for being here. And we have a lot of other special guests, Alan Stein, his beautiful wife, Ginger, who Larry and I go way back with. We also want to recognize all of our sponsors. If you look back on the wall, you can see them all. They are a tremendous financial impact on our chamber, and look how many we have. I think that says a lot about our chamber. They are also listed at your tables, so take a look at them, and if you're sitting with one of them, thank you for their dedication to the chamber, because they are the ones who make it possible to do all of the great things that we do. I also want to thank my boss, Lonnie Lawson. I don't know, Lonnie, if you're in the room today, but thank you, and the center for hosting these luncheon series. Also, Sassy Spoon Catering, Coca-Cola, and Pepsi-Cola for donating and providing the food and the beverage. And now we want to hear from one of our past presidents. This is a great opportunity that we celebrate our 100 years every single month, and it continues throughout the luncheons. So please take a look at the great president that we have today. We are here with Mike Tarter, who is the former president and CEO of Work Broadcasting, Radio and Digital, and the current vice president of the Kentucky Broadcasting Association. Mike, we are so interested in hearing what you have to say about your involvement in the chamber over the years.
Again, Mike Tarter. I'm president and CEO of Fork Broadcasting. We have 26 radio stations in 9 different radio markets. 7 of them are in Kentucky. We have 1 in Indiana and 1 in Illinois. And I've been in the broadcast business in Somerset since 1985.
So if you could tell us a little bit about when you were on the board and when you were the president of the chamber.
I was on the board. Actually, Ken Bean, former director, asked me to serve on the board. We've been involved, being the local radio. We certainly were involved heavily with chamber beforehand, but being involved on the board was a very big deal. It was mid to late 90s, and my year as president was 2004. And to be able to serve on that level at that time in my career was very big for me, and it was a great experience. Met so many good people, and that's the thing about the chamber. You just meet so many good folks that are busy doing things in the community, and you learn from them, and you work your network. You just build a network of friends and partners that way. So
what does the chamber, the local chamber, mean to you?
There's a lot. Again, it's that network. It's that support. It's that building friendships and partnerships, not only just with you personally, but certainly with your business. And people see you involved in various charitable organizations or working with the chamber to better the community. It's a good way to build partnerships and friendships and know where things are going in your community. So it's a valuable asset to have.
How do you think our community benefits from having such an active chamber?
Oh, well, you're right. Like I said, I think the community part of it, the networking part of it, if you are willing to go, particularly to the luncheons, meet people, get to the ribbon cuttings, meet people, you will make fast friends, probably things that you can help each other's businesses grow, and just create a network of folks that'll help you in the good times and bad times.
What do you think the benefit of going to those monthly luncheons? Everyone's busy. Why do you attend? Why do you encourage others to attend?
Again, where will you find out in such great detail what is coming on, what's going on in the community, maybe what's in the plans? Again, you meet folks from various topics of business, and it's just a great networking opportunity.
Thinking back to when you were the president, how has the chamber changed, grown, whatever word you want to use?
The biggest thing, and it happened the year before I was president, but was on a lot of those discussions, was going from, we were meeting weekly and to make it monthly. And that was a big deal then.
If I walked up to you on the street and asked you why should I become a member, what would you tell me?
Oh, I think you first of all, you have to. If you're going to be in business in this community, you just need to be involved. But you've got to put a little bit of work in too. You're going to get out of it what you can put in. You're going to get more out of it probably. But it is just, again, networking, knowing people, having that. Maybe you can help people as you meet people. They're looking for your type of business or your type of things that you can help them with. It's a great way to build friendships and business contacts and learn things in our community that I promise you wouldn't know it if you weren't coming to the chambers for luncheons each month.
So how do you think the business community has changed since you have been president?
Oh my. Well, certainly by the way the community has grown. There's so much more local business, as well as, we have the big box stores, big brands that are in the community now that we didn't maybe have 20 years ago. But I think the focus is still the locally owned stores that are, those folks that are doing it every day, trying to better their families, themselves, their business. But it's just so much more of it, and the chamber is a key part of that. There's a reason why Somerset has grown, and I think the Chamber of Commerce has been a big part of that.
What does it mean to you that the chamber has been alive and thriving 100 years?
That is absolutely amazing. But having been involved in it for not quite that long, but for a long time, I can see, because the people that have been involved in it, the community wants this place to grow, to be better for their families or children. And I just think that's an effort that we all make, whether it's conscious or not, to make the place we live even better. And I think the chamber's been a large part of that.
How would you describe the chamber in just one word?
So there are many of those. I would say support. The support you get, not only personally, but with your business and your profession. And I think the chamber does that as good as anybody.
Mike, I think you said that perfectly, and I think that's why these videos are so important. They merge our past with our present and really celebrate our 100-year celebration every single month that we gather. So now, on that note, I want to invite our first Vice President, Bruce Gover, to come up and recognize all of our new members.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great day. It's a great day for the chamber. We've got 14 new members to announce today. So if you happen to be in attendance today, please stand so we can welcome you to the chamber. First off, we have All Year Care, Jalen Stigall. Centerwell Home Health, Tish West. There they are, back there. Welcome. Devil's Cask, Brendan Ralph. Dynamic Restoration, Denise Downey. Immortal Tattoo, Harrison Lowe. Incremental Systems, Doyle Turner. There they are. Welcome. Kentucky Fame, Cumberland's Chapter, Jessica Carlton. Life Assurance Insurance, LLC, Francis McCoy. Maplehurst Law, Matthew Maplehurst. Shelton's Body Shop, Scotty Shelton. Southern Kentucky Eye Center, Dr. Mark Henry. Contact Rhonda Francis. Special Olympics Kentucky, Angie Cruz Tinch. The Salty Hen, Christina Kephart. And Vaughn's Green River Valley Farm Products, Jonathan Vaughn. Welcome. Thank you all.
Thank you, Bruce, and thank you for all the new members who have joined us. At this time, I do want to ask all of the Chamber ambassadors to stand. These individuals pour all of their energy and time into the chamber, and really, we cannot do big events without all of this group. So please stand and be recognized. And we have one ambassador who went above and beyond, and we would like to congratulate Doug Hutton with Kentucky RECC. It's a new ambassador, so we want to welcome them up to the front to be recognized as well. And we also want to thank today's corporate sponsors, Don Franklin Family of Dealerships and the United Cumberland Bank. We really want to thank everything that you do for our community and the Chamber and actually supporting these luncheons. And now, what you've been waiting for is our guest speaker. Nobody better to introduce him, Alan Stein. He goes without being recognized. My husband, Larry Glover with Larry Glover Live, worked for Alan for many years and thinks the world of him. And I want to point out, at the same time, I was working with his wife, Ginger, at the University of Kentucky. So our ties go way back. At this time, Larry Glover introducing Alan Stein.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming out. We really appreciate that. Thank you, Laura, for the introduction. You know, as I look around, I see civic leaders and I see entrepreneurs and business leaders, and I can't help but think that we all have one thing in common. Somebody in our life at some point opened a door for us and created a path to success and realizing our dreams. And today's speaker is one of those people for me personally. You know, as a kid growing up in rural Kentucky, I dreamed of being Marty Brenneman. And later in my life, I found myself falling into radio, but I didn't expect my dreams to come true because I didn't see a path to doing baseball broadcasting. Until one day I read in the Lexington Herald-Leader that professional baseball was coming to Lexington, and the guy that was making it happen was Alan Stein, a friend of mine. So I called Alan on a Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock, and 15 minutes later I had a new job. One of the real special moments in my life for sure, because not only was he making his dream come true, he was opening the door for me to pursue my dreams as well, and I'll ever be grateful for that opportunity from Alan. But see, today, Alan claims he's retired. But anybody knows Alan knows that that really is not the case. He's a great husband, father, and grandfather, as well as a founder and partner of the Lexington Legends Professional Baseball Club. He's taken an active role in the resurrection of the team and its efforts to return to the glory days in the beginning, a beginning I had the honor of witnessing firsthand. Additionally, Alan serves as the vice chairman of the Kentucky Governor's Scholar Program. He's a founding and current member of the Fayette Education Foundation, an ambassador to the 250 Lex anniversary celebration, Lexington celebrating its 250th anniversary, and is an officer in the Lexington Clinic Foundation. Over the years, Alan has been inducted into 6 Hall of Fames, including the Bluegrass Business Hall of Fame, as well as the Henry Clay High School, South Atlantic League, and Kentucky Softball Halls. He was awarded in 2011 the National Baseball Executive of the Year, a huge honor, the prestigious Lexington Optimist Cup, the Kentucky Volunteers of America Man of the Year, the Omaha, Nebraska Business Leader of the Year, and the Jim Host Sports Business Person of the Year. Alan is a proud alumnus of the University of Kentucky and a 3-time president of his synagogue. He's also a longtime Little League coach and Sunday school teacher. Alan also wants you to know that he is a card-carrying member of the Beat Music and Shag Dancing Preservation Society of South Carolina. Of course, we're going to need to see an example of that, Alan, to know for sure. I'd like to welcome to the stage one of my dearest and oldest friends and role model and mentor, Mr. Alan Stein. Alan's going to say a few words, and then after speaking, he and I are going to have a little Q&A, and then we'll wrap things up.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm so glad to be down here with you in Somerset. As I have traveled around the Commonwealth of Kentucky for the last 30 years in so many different capacities, I have often said and continue to believe that the Chamber of Commerce in Somerset-Pulaski County does it better than anybody else. When I look around this room and I see the leadership for this community, and we're in a building that represents that energy and entrepreneurship and community belief just in this building, I just want you to know that those of us from around the state recognize how well you do things down here. So Laura, to you and to all, Bobby, thank you all for this invitation today. I'm excited to be here. I actually have seen already a number of old friends here. My buddy from high school, Bruce Singleton, and I go back a long way. And as Laura said, Ginger and Laura worked together decades ago. Larry and I worked in the radio business. And when I started the Lexington Legends, one of the things that I wanted to do that nobody else in the country had done at that time was to create a radio network of affiliates all around the state. And I needed someone who had talent, drive, and ambition to help make that work. And we were able to establish in 2001 the largest in history minor league radio network anywhere in the country. And Larry was the head of that for us. So when he tells you that it took me 15 minutes to make a decision, I'm wondering what the hell I was doing for those first 14 minutes. It was great to have Larry on board with us, and we this year in Lexington, the Legends are celebrating, hard for me to believe, our 25th year of professional baseball in Central Kentucky. It's an amazing thing to consider, and we're awfully proud of it. And of course, we will invite all of you to join us throughout the year. Young Will Eads is here. You will notice on each of your tables that we've left vouchers to come at our expense as our guests to a game in Lexington. And if you need more tickets, I know his boss, we can probably make that work too. So Larry, let's do it. I think it's on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on. All right. Well, Alan, this really is a pleasure and very, very special for me. You and I go way back, and you really played an instrumental part of my career and opening doors for me. And, I'm grateful because when I think back to my days with the Legends, it isn't really the games I remember that much. I mean, there's a few, and we'll talk about some of those here in a minute. But what I remember the most, and I was telling Bobby Clue this, is I remember the nights of you and me sitting in your office at 1 o'clock in the morning after a game, talking about the night, how great it was, how much fun it was. And one thing I always appreciated about you is every time I came into work, the energy you had and the attitude you had. And it reminded me of a story that Harvey Penick, the famed golf coach, used to say, where he reminded one of his pupils, you don't have to go play, you get to go play.
Right.
And I always viewed my days with the Legends of getting to go to work versus having to go to work. And I think your attitude created an environment and a culture that made people want to come to work.
Well, I got to tell you, the whole Lexington Legends project started in 1984. I had read in what was then the Bible of baseball, the Sporting News. It was well before the internet, well before the proliferation of content that you get now about sports. Sporting News had just a small article that said, hey, Major League Baseball is considering expansion, 1984. And there was a corollary little insert that said, oh, by the way, if Major League Baseball expands, surely they're going to need minor league facilities in cities around the country to go along with that. In those days, there were 6 minor league levels for each one of the major league teams. So I got to a couple of buddies, and I said, Lexington ought to be on the list of potential locations for minor league baseball. We ought to think about being an advocate for that. Well, in the next month, the Sporting News had a more serious conversation about the expansion, and they listed all the cities where potential major league teams would expand, and they included Tampa and Phoenix and Denver, places that ultimately did get major league teams. But they also had another little article that said, these are the potential cities for minor league teams. And on that list, number 1 on the list in the whole country was Lexington, Kentucky. So I got a little more earnest about it. And my 2 buddies, Judge Don Paris, some of you will remember Don, and Pete Guthrie, and I got together and we went to see Wallace Wilkinson, who we thought could help us figure out how to get a location built. And he said, yeah, if you can raise the money and get the city to build you a stadium, we'll donate a little land here at the horse park. I said, great. So we started a petition and we got people to sign it. And that went from 1984 to 1998. And interestingly, I'll tell a story on my dad. In 2002, I was awarded the Public Relations Society of America National Communicator of the Year. There's a big ceremony in Washington, D.C., and a reporter from the Washington Post came. I took my dad with me and asked my dad, well, you must be awful proud of your son. And my dad said, well, he's been at this since 1984. He didn't get it done until 2001. He was such a damn good communicator. What took him so long? It's a good point. But the enthusiasm, when we started thinking about professional baseball in Lexington, it wasn't as an enterprise, as a business. I had plenty of other things I was doing. I was in the radio business. Not then. Before that, I was doing real estate development projects in Scott County and around in Lexington. And then we got into the radio business. And it never occurred to me that I would be in the baseball business. But in 1998, we sold our radio stations. I was fortunate enough to be in the ownership group there, and I found myself with a little bit of time and a little bit of money. And because we weren't communicating well enough to the city or the state to build us a stadium, I just said, well, heck, let's just do it ourselves. And little did I know at that time that immediately people would say, well, you can't do that. It's never been done before. Building a baseball stadium or any kind of athletic facility with private funds. Nobody had ever done that. But we figured out a way to do it, and it was such a privilege to be involved in that. My enthusiasm was easy because I was doing something I loved every single day. I got to be around a gorgeous ballpark and see all of the families who came and their kids and the folks who grew up in the ballpark, including my children. It was such a privilege, such an honor to be able to do that. So how could I not be enthusiastic?
It's easy to do when you go into a ballpark to work, right?
Oh, yeah. It's not the worst place in the world to have an office.
No doubt, no doubt. Alan, in those conversations, you would oftentimes impart a lot of wisdom, a lot of philosophy you had about business, about life, too. I think they're really kind of interchangeable. And one phrase you would repeat often that I remember the most of all, and I talk to my family and friends about this, it comes up often, is the phrase you would use, what does success look like, as a way of establishing what the goal is and the steps to get there. Talk about that for just a moment.
Well, I think it's always really important in any enterprise, any endeavor that you have, be it in business or in your family, in your faith, whatever it is, if you have an idea of what it's going to look like when you get there, not only does it keep you pointed and focused in the right direction and gives you a goal to try to attain, sometimes you actually get there and you get to really enjoy it. And in most cases, it was for me, when we did achieve those goals and we did recognize what success looked like and we were sitting right in the middle of it, you do enjoy it for a moment, but most entrepreneurs will tell you, all right, what's next? And then you start all over again and you go forward. But yeah, I think you have to be focused in anything that you do and know what that success looks like when you've achieved it.
In 1998, when you envisioned what success would look like, was April 5th of 2001 what you experienced? What you envisioned?
No, there's no way.
By the way, that was the first Legends baseball
Yeah.
discussion.
I got to tell you, as much as we talked about it for those 15 years, trying to get enthusiasm and funding from the city and then from the Commonwealth to support us and to build our stadium, and then when that wouldn't happen, we figured out we had to do it ourselves. We had to raise the money. We had to sell this dream. I had to put together a staff, which to this day I still call the dream team. Those of us who worked every day for 2 years, day and night, 7 days a week, often found ourselves still in this little old office in the shopping center that was adjacent to where the ballpark was being built. It was like the wild, wild west because we didn't know what the heck we were doing, but we just knew we were doing something good, and it was fun, and it was a dream, and we sold that dream to ourselves, and then we disseminated that dream out into the public. But interestingly enough, no matter how we tried to explain to people what it was we were trying to accomplish, ultimately, and we were able to do it. We sold it. We sold more tickets on the first day of ticket sales than had ever been sold to any minor league team on their first day ever. We sold over 1,900 full season tickets that very first day at the Hyatt. But when we opened the stadium and we had built this, multi-million-dollar facility, the thing that I heard from people who came through the gates and looked around and saw this place, the one thing that they said was, I had no idea that this is what you were talking about. It's a little frustrating because that's all I've been talking about. But at the same time, as I looked around and saw 8,000 people on a beautiful sun-splashed day, families riding around the carousel, playing in the berm areas, having fun. The baseball team, I can't remember, was it 15-1 or something?
The home game was a big win.
Yeah. We killed them. And,
and the first game was a little bit of a different story. We're going to get to that too, by the way.
Our first game was on the road in Charleston, West Virginia, and unfortunately, I had guaranteed that we would win that game, and it was on the front page of the Charleston newspaper that new owner guarantees win, let's get him. And
they
beat us, and my guarantee was if we didn't win, we were playing against the Charleston Alley Cats. I guaranteed we'd win, or else I would eat cat food.
We're not talking about the dry cat food either, by the way.
Yeah,
the wet cat food in a can.
Yeah, well, I did it. I made those bets every year. You may have heard of some of them.
Did you win any of them, though? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think in the 5th year we finally won the first damn game. it was almost, it got to the point where people in the press and in the community were saying they're losing those games on purpose just so that an idiot can show us what he'll do. And, I did all sorts of things in those days. One year, I had guaranteed that I would sit in my seat and not get up until we won a game.
I remember that one.
And unfortunately, 3 days later, I was still sitting in my seat. And
Actually, wasn't one game rained out, too?
no, it didn't get rained out, but it was terrible weather that came in, right? The first day was 72 degrees. The second day was 38 and storming, and I'm still sitting there. We finally did win on that Saturday night. But, cut my, one year, I guaranteed we'd win it or I would shave my head. I had even longer hair then. It wasn't this color. And I had to shave my head. And so, to make the best of it, I sold advertising on my bald head for the first 4 games. Whatever. I do whatever it takes. If you're enthusiastic about it, you do whatever it takes.
You know what I recall from that first week is the first game and seeing our ballpark sort of rise from the dirt in about 4 months. It was quickly built, and then going to Watt Park where the Alley Cats played, which was prehistoric. I mean, it was like 85 years old, and it was I feel like I needed a tetanus shot.
It was a dump.
It was awful. And then coming to our brand new ballpark 4 days later,
Yeah.
and the thing that kind of struck me about the experiences is when I was on the road, I would always describe it as game time, but in Lexington it was show time.
Right.
And I think the fans thought of it as a presentation, almost theater, where it wasn't just a game, but there was so much going on around to accentuate the game, almost to the point where it overshadowed the game, and that's by design.
When we were first talking about building the stadium and bringing the professional team to Lexington, our idea was that it would be a Southern League AA baseball team. And when we finally came to the conclusion that we were not going to get any taxpayer dollars or support from the city and or the state, we had to reconfigure everything. And we dropped down from AA to single A because the minimum standard was building 4,000 seats for a single A stadium and 6,000 for a AA, and at a cost of $2,500 per fixed seat, that $2,000, 2,000 extra seats that we didn't have to build saved us a lot of money. The acquisition cost for a franchise in 1998, we paid right at $3.5 million for a single A franchise, but a AA franchise was double that, $7 million, and there were other aspects of it. So we had to pare everything down to be able to afford it privately. And in doing so, a lot of naysayers really came out of the woodwork, including a number of my potential investors who said, Lexington won't support a single A team. You're going to be playing teams, instead of playing AA teams from Knoxville and Orlando and Birmingham and places like that, you're going to be playing teams from Hickory, North Carolina, Hagerstown, Maryland, Charleston, West Virginia, and the fans won't support that. And if you're not a Cincinnati Reds affiliate, they're not going to support you at single A, all this. So we had to do a lot of research, and I had a lot of soul searching to make sure that we were on the right track. So we did a lot of surveys at a AA facility, a Reds affiliate in Chattanooga, Tennessee, for 3 weeks, and we did all these surveys, and we asked 4 basic questions, and the last question was, did you have fun, will you come back? Well, what we found from that research was that people didn't care if you were a Reds affiliate or anybody else. They didn't care if, what level you were playing. They didn't care any of those things that my naysayers were saying, as long as the fan experience was valuable. If you made the experience for your fans fun and well priced and safe and clean and you do it over and over and over again, and you're sincere and earnest about it, the fans will come. And so we were able to make that happen. Turns out that we sold so many tickets in advance that we built everything to AA standards anyway, but we didn't have to. So that's how we got to those points.
I think the approach with the Legends too was to think big. I mean, from the very beginning it was to think big, and it really prepared us for something that would come a few years later. I think in many ways, at least the 7 years I was there, probably the biggest stage we were ever on. June 6th of 2006.
Oh yeah.
Roger Clemens had recently retired, but decided to come back to baseball, and he would begin his relaunch. We call it the Rockets relaunch.
Right.
He would begin in Lexington on June 6th of 2006.
Right.
And we had the New York Times there. ESPN was there to cover it. The Astros Radio Network carried our radio broadcast.
I was on the front page of a Tokyo, Japan newspaper, if you can believe that. We had over 200 press credentials issued for that game.
Over 9,000 people were at the game in a ballpark that seated a little over 6,000 ultimately?
Yeah. It was crazy. It was a wonderful event. Roger Clemens was just an absolute amazing person to have in our ballpark, and he helped raise over $100,000 for charities while he was there for Lexington and his foundation. He actually redid the entire clubhouse, put in new carpets, new furniture, TVs. I mean, he was really great to work with. But one funny episode, his son, Kobe, was our third baseman. And Roger's pitching the first 3 innings of this game. And it's according to the Lexington Herald-Leader, it was one of the top 5 sporting events in the history of Lexington, Kentucky, which is saying a lot when you think about UK and Keeneland and all the other things that we have. So this whole thing's going on, and Roger's pitching really well. Kid hits a home run off of him. Yeah, I mean, it was quite
Johnny Drennan.
Yeah,
I'm not going to forget that kid's name.
Yeah, hit it up on top of the Pepsi day. Yeah. So Roger's at the end of his 3rd inning, and he's got runners on first and second, 2 outs, and he's pitching to this kid, and it gets 2 strikes on the guy, and all of a sudden everybody in the stadium stands up and starts cheering. And Roger calls timeout, and he calls his son Kobe over, and he says, "Do they get this crazy every time somebody strikes somebody out?" And he says, "No, Dad. If you strike this guy out, everybody in the stadium gets free windshield wiper fluid."
Here we are in 2025. You have since left the Legends, but now you've come back.
Right.
And in a sense, it's your own and the Legends' own relaunch. Now you played last year, and it's been a process that's ongoing and in process. But what can fans expect now? What's the experience like now at the ballpark in Lexington, and what can they expect when they use these vouchers to go to the games this year?
Yeah, well, this is our 25th year, so we are really committed to getting back to those glory days. We sold the club, and I retired in 2012, and for whatever reason, the club didn't do quite as well, and it was about to shut down 2 years ago. So a group of baseball investors from North Carolina who owned a couple of other teams, and me with a few local investors bought the team back. And we spent the first full year just doing the fundamentals, getting the facility to look right, to put all our protocols in place so that the experience for the fans became paramount again. And we had a pretty good year. More than doubled attendance, tripled sponsorships, started to get that feel back. But this year we're committed to going back to the fundamentals of what we did in our first 10, 12 years. And so when the fans come out, for example, we found out that from 2013 to 2024, the Legends, to 2023, the Legends did not even have one single national act. These traveling acts that you see, Superstars and Bert Zirk and Myron Noodleman, all these traveling vaudeville shows, they didn't have one in that whole period. So we have brought those back on opening night. Berserk will be there, and we'll have them throughout the year. This 25th anniversary is really going to harken back from an historic perspective. We're having a reunion weekend, June 6th, 7th, and 8th, and we've invited back all of our players and former employees and staff to celebrate that come home again weekend. It's all going to be functioning toward being what we were in year one.
Well, I certainly look forward to it. It was the best job I've ever had, and I'm grateful for the experience of realizing my dreams. I'm grateful for the opportunity and the experiences and the wisdom that I got from you. Ladies and gentlemen, Alan Stein. And I think Laura's got a presentation for you. Yes, go ahead.
Let me add one last thing. We also have a very strong Somerset-Pulaski County connection here.
That's right. Is he here?
I haven't seen him. I don't know if Alan Anderson is here or Josh, but the most popular player, not counting Roger Clemens, I'm guessing, in Lexington Legends history is from Eubank, Josh Anderson. We love Josh. And he is still in the Legends Hall of Fame and a star in all our books.
I'll say this: the first time the Astros brass came to Lexington to watch Josh play, because he was a highly draft pick.
Oh yeah.
The very first time they saw Josh play in Lexington, Josh went 6 for 6
and had 5 stolen bases and threw a guy out at the plate.
It's I think in many ways it's the best individual performance ever by a legend, and right there in front of his boss. Yeah. Nicely done.
So I can't be the only person wondering this question. So I knew most of those stories. We all know that you're a legend and you're going to do great things in the future. But what did the cat food taste like? Pate?
It did not. It was, I don't think it was very high quality. And it was Charleston, West Virginia. But I will say, our manager at the time, J.J. Cannon, who then became the National Manager of the Year that year, I think. We won a championship that year. J.J. actually felt sorry for me, and he ate it too. Yes, he did.
And really quick, we want to make you a friend of the Chamber and of Somerset, and we are so glad that you are here with us. What a great friend.
Thank you all.
One of the first things he did was correct the name from the counterclock to the left.
Amen.
That was not a hard decision.
I am so glad someone said that. I was not about to, but I was thinking it the whole time. So at this time, Ace, if you want to come and we're going to do the raffle. So the people that have seen me do this the past couple of months know that I can barely see the numbers and it's getting a little awkward. So here we go, Ace.
You can pick.
Okay.
Okay, so our first number, or first ticket is 213021. Oh, Victoria's got it in the back. All right, so and this whoever wins this one gets a gift certificate from Don Franklin Family of Dealerships for free oil change. So the ticket is 579813. We got it back there. Okay. All right, and so we got another gift certificate from Don Franklin Family of Dealerships. The ticket is 579739. All right. Okay, so we're going to try that again. We got 579739. 752. Right here. All right, and so we got another one. It is 579635. All right, one more time. We got 579812. Five 79693. Okay. And we have one more gift certificate from Don Franklin. That number is 579814. Okay. All right, and the last thing that we have, complimentary of United Cumberland Bank, is a charcuterie board. It's really nice. And that number is 579793. All right, thanks.
Thank you, Ace. And we hope to see everyone at our next luncheon. It will be Tuesday, May 6th. The Kentucky Attorney General, Russell Coleman, will be speaking, so we hope to see you all here again. And at this time, I would like to invite Amber Decker. She runs the youth programs for the Center for Rural Development to lead us in the pledge.
While everybody's standing, I would just like to thank all of our veterans that we have in house today. So thank you guys for your service. If you will join me on the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Amber.
I'm going to hate about having Laura